Sometimes growing up, we hear things so often, repeated so emphatically, behind so much conviction, we just automatically accept these things to be true, and we never question its efficacy in our lives. And one of these things is knowledge is power. We know that knowledge is power. Knowledge is a good thing. The more we have of it, the better. And when we acquire it, we'll have the ability to produce a result or an effect, which in and of itself is the very definition of power. But is it? Is knowledge always power? All knowledge? In every circumstance? Does that mean anyone who has any knowledge now has a modicum of power because of it? I'm not so sure about that. Not too long ago, Dr. Gemma Calvert conducted an interesting study at Warwick University in England. She took groups of smokers from around the world and she surveyed them. Now, this survey recorded their explicit, conscious response to the questions, kind of in the same way a Gallup poll study would be conducted. And she basically asked them that when they see warning labels on boxes of cigarettes, or in some countries like Canada or Australia, they have graphically disturbing images on the boxes, basically what emotions are evoked and what does that do to your desire to smoke? And logically, the vast majority, nearly everyone said, when I see these images, it evokes fear. They're quite frightening, and therefore, it decreases my desire to smoke. But when she placed these smokers in a functional magnetic resonance imaging machine, their brains told quite a different story. See, whilst in the machine, she showed these individuals these graphically disturbing images. She showed them the warning labels that are actually on cigarettes. Things like smoking kills. It can cause heart disease, emphysema, birth defects. Now, if those images and those warning labels really did create a level of fear inside the minds of the smoker, you would see a spike in the activity level of the amygdala, but that's not what the brain scan recorded. The brain scan recorded an increase in activity in the nucleus accumbens, which is part of the reward pathway that's involved in anticipation. So not only did the warning labels fail to decrease the desire to smoke, they actually increased the desire for these smokers to engage in the act of smoking. Interesting. So what does that mean? That our clients are liars? No, it just simply means that a lot of them have initiated behavior patterns over the course of weeks, months, years, sometimes decades, that have created structural biochemical changes in their brain. So there are non-conscious, emotive, biochemical, synaptic influences that compete and sometimes overpower reason because they're under the radar. We're not even aware of these influences, so how can we combat them? And there's a couple of ways. One, if knowledge itself is not power, maybe clarity, maybe quantification, explicitly identifying what we want. Maybe power lies in that. So when somebody says, well, I want to make changes, well, exactly what changes? For exactly what reason? What is most important to you about the explicit changes you seek to produce? I want to get in shape. What exactly does that mean to someone? And again, why is that absolutely most important to you? And when you make these changes, what exactly is going to be different in your life? If you were looking at your life as it was a movie and it was a story all about what happened after you quit smoking or after you lost 5 kilos, what would that movie be like? Imagine the climactic scene in the movie that's most inspiring to you. Make it as vivid as possible. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you can make these changes? No matter what they say. If they say a 5, ask them why it's not a 2 or a 3. Don't ever ask them, why is it not a 6? because as Rolnick and Miller, the pioneers of motivational interviewing, have found, when you ask someone, well, why aren't you more motivated than you currently are? They'll find a reason why, and that'll increase rather than diminish their levels of ambivalence. Another thing is, what is one simple step you believe you can take today to start initiating those changes? And try to ask questions about their life outside of the gym. Where do they go on holiday? What's their favorite hobby? Is their hobby something that's inclusive, something to do in a group, or is it something that they do autonomously? Because if you can identify what they associate with reward, because if there's reward associated to the habits that take them away from the achievement of their goals, and there has to be reward, immediate reward, associated to the new behaviors they're looking to engage in to bring about a future desire that they'd like to actualize in their life. So if you can identify what are all the elements, they need consistency or do they need constant stimulation? You know, do they need predictability? Do they need variation? Do they need to exercise in groups or do they need to exercise by themselves? Where are they safe? Where are they inspired? What incites passion, enthusiasm? And we can overlay some of those elements in our exercise program. We can help kickstart them into habitual exercise, because within the first 30 days, one of the most important elements of an exercise program, it may not even be, and this is very controversial, I'm going to say, scientific accuracy. Because if they don't stick with the program, it doesn't matter how great the program was, it was useless to them. But as long as the program is safe, of course, one of the greatest elements in the first 30 days is what creates continuity. What is engaging enough that it gets them to repeat a behavior long enough for it to become a habit. Because if we can get this person into habitual exercise, then our potential for the effect that we can have in their lives, help them have in their own lives, is greatly enhanced. So, another question to ask is, when are you planning to make these changes? Just because they're willing doesn't mean they're willing right now. And how do you know? What has to show up as a signal for you to say, right, this is my time, and are you willing? And again, use your 1 to 10 quantifier, scale from 1 to 10. How important is this in your life? What is the most important aspect of this goal? If you had to quantify it, no matter what they say, if they say it's a 4, why'd you not say it's a 2? If they say it's an 8, why'd you not say it's a 5? And get them to not only tell you what happens once they get there, tangibly, explicitly, but what feelings are they going to experience intrinsically. Thank you for watching another video blog hosted by Mind Matters.